Okay, getting ready for round two with this Karn Amulet list. One thing I've added a few questions about is the Beseju. I'm currently doing one in the main deck, one in the sideboard, which may be surprising to people seeing as I had some 75s with 4 Besejus in them. But I think since the Luris ban, Hammer is a lot less of a popular deck, where Beseju was quite good. And I think Hammer was probably the top reason to play Beseju. I think another like consideration for Beseju is like Blood Moon, but since this list, I'm trying to like not run any fetches or shocks, so I can fit in the 2 Cavernous Souls and the Bajuka Bog. Basically, I'm just making the decision that I want to have these excellent lands against Murktide, and somewhere in the mana base that has to give. And like I could see fitting a third Beseju in the sideboard because it is quite good in a lot of matchups. But the sideboard's also quite tight as it is right now. I think these four are sort of uncuttable right now, or uncuttable as far as like Karn board cards. These are like the core package of the Karn board. I think Sky Sovereign is like best at like where Wormcoil Engine used to be before, of just being like the best value play. I especially like it right now for killing Magus of the Moon, for killing Meddling Mage, and for killing Lavinia. But it also just kills lots and lots and lots of things. It pressures Ashiok or other planeswalkers. And like I said, Needle and Cage are things I'm trying for Yawgmoth. I'm already down to 2 Force of Vigor, and like Force of Vigor is such an amazing card. Like, the list is tight when you're at 2 Force of Vigor, because like I would love to be able to play 4 Force of Vigor. That card is just busted. Yeah, so I mean, we keep hands that kill on turn 2, right? Like, there's no question about that. I'll name Beast. I mean, likely this Cavern is just tapping for Amulet next turn anyway, but if it's not, I'd like the option of playing an Arboreal Grazer on it if, for example, my opponent went Prismatic Ending into, like, Prismatic Ending. So my opponent could have Solitude right now. I'm just gonna go for the kill. I think Kaldra is a problem if I let it sit too long. Okay, so all we saw was Temple Gardens and Stoneforge Mystics. Doesn't feel like a Bajuka Bog matchup. Feels like Beseju is probably going to be better than that. Doesn't feel like I need Endurance. I doubt Force of Vigor is going to be very good, even though I know they're on some amount of equipment. The most important equipment are like Kaldra. If it's like a Hammer deck, but Hammer isn't green, so I assume this is sort of a Hate Bears deck. So I'm going to sideboard with like Hate Bears in mind. If it is Hate Bears, It might be something trying to do like Leonin Arbiter, Beseju type stuff. And so if there's like a lot of like Leonin Arbiters and Thalias and Archon of Emirias, maybe Cultivator Colossus is better than a Summoner's Pact. Summoner's Pact can be kind of mopey against those sorts of decks. So Cultivator probably a better threat. Try it like this. I could always cut a Cavern, but I think my lands are important if that's the axis my opponent is likely to be interacting with me on. Not much to say about no land hand. I'll keep this and bottom Talaria West. I don't think I'm sagaing on one, though. Like, I could Grazer for Cavern for Beast and Grazer. I really wish this was a green source, because then I'd be like set up for like potentially a turn 3 Titan. I think there's a chance that like I want these Saga tokens though. There's also a good chance I just want to go fast. I'll just play Castle and pass. I don't know if I'm going to be like stuck on green sources at any point, so like not naming anything on Cavern is, I guess. And also this sets up for Explore if I draw it. Okay. So opponent has all the bears. I'm doing this because I'm kind of hoping like if my opponent has like a Field of Ruin or something of that ilk that they go for the Valakut rather than the Saga. Oh my, this is the Devoted Druid deck. Okay, that makes sense. Well, we might just be dead. Yeah, I think Karn, unfortunately, is just going to be a turn too slow. It's possible, they have the equipment, though, so if they have the equipment, I mean, it makes sense to play the Karn. Which card do I want if Karn dies? Probably Needle. I could, like, Needle the Druid. Cage is also nice. It stops any, like, silliness with, like, Magus of the Moon off of, like, a Chord or a Finale. Could also just, like, go for killing stuff with, like, a Sky Sovereign or a Ballista. I guess if I'm not tightening next turn, one of the ways I would be not tightening next turn is, like, specifically my opponent... if specifically my opponent, like, somehow has some search effect for Magus... And if they do that, then Walking Ballista is the best grab. I also don't have to reveal that I'm a Needle deck at this point. Okay, opponent's seen enough. Yeah. Not sure what I would have done. Yeah. I'm not sure what I would have done after hasting and attacking there. I feel like I want to stop the Cauldra, but I also don't want to get comboed out. It's probably the best thing I could do there is get 2 bounce lands and explosives on 2, and then just blow the explosives, and that takes care of the Druid and the Stoneforge would probably have been the best play. All right. Well, I guess I'll see everyone for the next round.